This is Land of Havilah, Job 34. Job had no answer, therefore Elihu will speak on. Verse 1. Moreover, Elihu answered, Hear my words, you wise men. Give ear to me, you who have knowledge. For the ear tries words as the palate tastes food. Let us choose for us that which is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am righteous. God has taken away my right. Notwithstanding my right, I am considered a liar. My wound is incurable, though I am without disobedience. Comment in verses 5 to 6, Elihu understands Job's sentiment to be, in spite of the fact that I'm righteous, God denies my reward, and my friends call me a liar. Verse 7. What man is like Job, who drinks scorn like water, who goes in company with the workers of iniquity and walks with wicked men? For he has said, It profits a man nothing that he should delight himself with God. Comment in verses 7 to 9, Elihu's never seen so many extremes and absurdities in one place. He can't think of another man who's endured so much scorn as Job, whose friends attack him, and of all things a man who says there's no profit in delighting oneself in God. Elihu feels like he's surrounded by insanity. Coming up, Elihu still manages to call them men of understanding. Verse 10. Therefore listen to me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness, from the Almighty that he should commit iniquity. For the work of a man he will render to him, and cause every man to find according to his ways. Yes, surely God will not do wickedly, neither will the Almighty pervert justice. Comment, let's just get two things straight, Elihu says. Contrary to what Job's been saying, 1, God is righteous, and 2, he does render to a man according to his ways. Speaking of God, verse 13, who put him in charge of the earth, or who has appointed him over the whole world? Comment, he's pointing out that no one put God in charge. He's God alone. Verse 14. If he sets his heart on himself, if he gathered to himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh would perish together and man would turn again to dust. Comment, that was a remarkable image. Elihu says if God for a moment were wrapped up in himself and stopped caring for his creation, his next inspiration would suck the life from all living. All flesh would drop dead in one inhalation. Verse 16. If now you have understanding, hear this. Listen to the voice of my words. Shall even one who hates justice govern? Will you condemn him who's righteous and mighty, who says to a king vile or to nobles wicked, who doesn't respect the person of princes nor respects the rich more than the poor, for they're all the work of his hands? Comment in verses 16 to 19, Elihu says, What kind of God do you think he is? Do you think he hates justice? He's righteous and mighty, so much so that if even a king or noble is vile and wicked, he'll call them exactly what they are. His righteousness is such that his judgment of man isn't clouded whatsoever. When God renders his judgment on a man, verse 20, in a moment they die, even at midnight. The people are shaken and pass away. The mighty are taken away without a hand, for his eyes are on the ways of a man. He sees all his goings. There is no darkness nor thick gloom where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves. For he doesn't need to consider a man further that he should go before God in judgment. He breaks in pieces mighty men in ways past finding out, and sets others in their place. Therefore he takes knowledge of their works. He overturns them in the night so that they are destroyed. Comment in verse 23, God doesn't need to consider a man further because he already knows everything about him. God's not like a human judge who has to gather evidence and deliberate on it for a while. In verse 24, he breaks in pieces mighty men in ways past finding out. Also translated that he breaks mighty men in pieces without inquiry, meaning without the need for investigation. Verse 26, he strikes them as wicked men in the open sight of others, because they turned away from following him and wouldn't pay attention to any of his ways, so that they caused the cry of the poor to come to him. He heard the cry of the afflicted. When he gives quietness, who then can condemn? When he hides his face, who then can see him? Alike whether to a nation or to a man, that the godless man may not reign, that there be no one to ensnare the people. Comment in verse 29, when he gives quietness, who then can condemn? Meaning if God is silent about a person, there's no condemning God for being silent, and there's no rightly condemning the person. In verses 26 to 30, God strikes the wicked, whether they be leaders of nations or common men. And what are some reasons he might strike them? To keep them from ensnaring the nation, or from ensnaring those around them, or to keep them from afflicting the poor. Verse 31. For has any said to God, I am guilty, but I will not offend any more. Teach me that which I don't see. If I've done iniquity, I'll do it no more. Shall his recompense be as you desire, that you refuse it? For you must choose, and not I. Therefore speak what you know. Comment in verses 31 to 33, Elihu implies the answer is yes, sometimes the wicked do repent. That's why God doesn't always give them their comeuppance right away. He's waiting for them to repent. So we have a choice when we look on that situation. Should we presume to be the judge, or should we just leave it with God? Elihu says to Job and his friends, if I'm not seeing this clearly, please speak up. Verse 34. Men of understanding will tell me, yes, every wise man who hears me, Job speaks without knowledge. His words are without wisdom. I wish that Job were tried to the end because of his answering like wicked men. For he adds rebellion to his sin. He claps his hands among us and multiplies his words against God. Comment, according to Elihu, the word going around about Job, even from men of understanding, is that he's speaking rebellion against God. They wish God would keep trying Job to the end for speaking like that. That comment must really sting. Elihu will continue in Job 35 next.